All right, let's just jump right in today. We're throwing out the traditional agenda because we have a really fascinating language experiment to look at. We're actually going to use artificial intelligence as our very own comedy clinic today. Basically, we're taking some AI-generated roasts and using them as teaching materials to decode exactly how sarcastic, witty, and humorous English expressions actually work. So if you've ever found yourself totally confused by an English joke, or you just want to understand the nuts and bolts of sarcasm, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. Ma'am, I was just trying to order coffee, not build a meaningful cross-cultural relationship with my barista. Just imagine the absolutely deadpan delivery of a line like that. Even completely out of context, it is hilarious. It's this incredibly specific, highly exaggerated scenario that just perfectly captures a very particular flavor of sarcastic English humor. But, it makes you wonder, where did this even come from? And that really is the big question here. How on earth did an AI learn to mock human beings so perfectly? Well, here's the backstory. 3 English teaching hosts, Aubrey, Michelle, and Lindsay, decided to take all their past conversational content and just feed the whole shebang right into an AI. And the goal? They wanted to see if the AI could analyze their unique personalities and playfully insult them based on their quirks. And let me tell you, the results were incredibly accurate and honestly pretty brutal in the funniest way possible. But before we look at what the AI actually spit out about them, we really need to understand the cultural and linguistic foundation of this specific type of comedy. Section 1, the art of the roast. The definition itself is actually super interesting. A roast is basically a type of humor where someone is playfully mocked or insulted in a witty, exaggerated way, showing closeness rather than genuine malice. So the absolutely crucial thing to grasp here, if you're learning the nuances of English, is the intention behind the words. This isn't bullying. It's not mean-spirited at all. In Western culture, a roast is a series of jokes at someone's expense, usually delivered by friends or colleagues, that is actually meant to show affection. Think about it. You can really only roast someone you genuinely like, and more importantly, someone who can take a joke. It's almost a compliment. It's a way of saying, hey, I know you well enough to tease you, and we're close enough that we can just laugh about it together. So with that cultural context in mind, let's put on our detective hats and dissect these AI roasts to see exactly what makes these sarcastic expressions tick. Section 2, the AI Comedy Clinic. Let's start things off with Aubrey's roast. The AI said, Aubrey has that dangerous level of enthusiasm where you're not sure if she's about to teach you English or lure you into a very upbeat productivity cult. I mean, come on, that is comedy gold. That specific phrasing, a dangerous level of enthusiasm, is such a brilliant English comedic device. And here is exactly why it works so well. If you take that literally, it just means she's very happy to teach, right? Totally harmless. But the sarcastic meaning completely flips it. It implies her enthusiasm is so extreme, it actually feels like brainwashing. This is hyperbole, or extreme exaggeration. Sarcasm in English does this all the time. It takes a really positive, harmless trait, like being enthusiastic, pairs it with a super intense negative adjective, like dangerous, and then just escalates the whole thing to a ridiculous extreme, like a productivity cult. The humor lives entirely in that massive, absurd contrast. Now, let's move over to Michelle's roast and see how the AI builds on this idea of contrast. It wrote, she has the energy of someone who drank 3 coffees but is still politely asking, does that make sense? Just picture that visual for a second. It's so good. So literally, this just means she consumed a huge amount of caffeine. But the sarcastic, comedic meaning, that is all about her being overwhelmingly, almost exhaustingly energetic, while somehow still holding on to rigid, polite social etiquette. The secret sauce here is juxtaposition. It's taking the literal, physical chaos of slamming 3 coffees and smashing it directly next to a totally mundane, polite English checking phrase like, does that make sense? It highlights a very human, very funny contradiction in how she acts. Okay, now let's see what the AI had to say about Lindsay. It roasted her by claiming she wakes up every morning at 110% energy, and the rest of us are still buffering at 7%. You feel that pause right before the punchline? That is exactly where the tech-based sarcasm totally sticks the landing. Think about this visually for a second. You've got Lindsay's morning energy shooting way off the charts at an impossible 110, while the rest of normal, everyday humanity is barely registering at a measly 7. The absolute genius here is the AI's use of the English slang, buffering. Usually, we use buffering to complain about a slow internet video that's struggling to load. But taking that specific technology term and applying it to a groggy, tired human being in the morning, It's a fantastic modern metaphor. It brilliantly contrasts her extreme, almost robotic-level positivity with our normal, sluggish human reality. Now that we've had a few laughs at their expense, let's categorize the specific themes the AI used to build these sarcastic narratives. Section 3, Anatomy of an AI Joke. What's genuinely fascinating is the recurring pattern the AI picked up on, because the best humor, and definitely the best roasts, are always grounded in hyper-specific, observable truths. The AI noticed these hosts all share an over-enthusiasm in daily life, a tendency to turn simple vocabulary into deep philosophical TED Talks, an obsessive focus on human connection, and a habit of creating massive emotional character arcs for simple grammar roleplays. By pinpointing these exact, specific behaviors, the AI crafted roasts that hit perfectly. Sarcasm works best when it's grounded in real truth. And this line brilliantly illustrates that exact point. Because Lindsay talks so much about prioritizing human connection over perfect grammar, the AI joked that even her basic grocery list probably says, eggs, milk, connection, not perfection. This right here is a classic English comedic structure called the rule of three. You list two normal, completely mundane things, eggs, milk, and then boom, for the third item, you hit them with the unexpected philosophical catchphrase. It is a flawless joke structure. And actually, that takes us nicely to our ultimate takeaway about the relationship between humor and connection.
Section 4, Connection through Comedy.
So, the crucial takeaway from all this is that a really good roast reveals hidden truths and builds deeper bonds. While they were doing this experiment, the hosts realized something kind of amazing. By roasting them, the AI actually correctly identified their core mission. They aren't just out there teaching perfect English grammar, they are actively using language to connect with people. The AI realized they truly value connection, not perfection. Which proves that playful mockery, when you do it right, is actually a high-level tool for cross-cultural connection, because it shows you truly see the other person, quirks and all. But a quick word of warning for anyone going out to practice their new sarcastic English skills. You absolutely must understand the boundary between a mean-spirited insult, which is harsh, cutting, and just makes the target feel bad, and playful roasting, which is exaggerated, ensures everyone is laughing, and leaves the target totally in on the joke. Fun fact, the AI actually had to be configured to a specific fun setting by the hosts because its very first attempt was way too mean. Getting this tone right really is the masterclass in English communication. So I want to leave you with this final thought and challenge. Could AI roast you? Honestly, if you fed your emails, your texts, or your daily conversations into an AI, what weird quirks would it exaggerate? What hidden truths would it uncover? And maybe more importantly, do you have the linguistic confidence and the sense of humor to actually take the joke and bond through comedy? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, diving into the mechanics of English humor, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Got it! What's up? Catch up! Aha!